Um, we're doing today the tarot key number 6, the Lovers. And I always do this. Okay. The Lovers. Zane, Z, value 7, means sword or weapon, suggesting the antithesis of Va, the nail, because a sword cleaves, cuts, divides, and separates. Diversity, contrast, antithegis, distinction, and therefore discrimination are some of the related ideas. Discrimination implies nice perception, acuteness, sharpness, like a sword's edge, sagacity, and so on. S-A-G-A-C-I-T-Y. Smelling is the attribution to Zane in the Book of Formation. The sense of smell has always associated with keen perceptions and sagacity, whatever that means. Sagacity. An old Kabbalistic maxim says, properties are discerned by the nose. Our everyday speech has a number of phrases like smell out to suggest the approach to truth. East above, the direction assigned to Zane on the cube, is a line bounding the eastern side of the top of the cube of space and joining the top face above Mercury to the eastern face, which is East Venus. This line, moreover, joins the top of the vertical line northeast, Hierophant, the sage, the Pope, the key number 5. Together are the subconscious powers of creative imagination and the self-conscious power of acute discrimination. Gemini, the twins, is the zodiac sign attributed to Zane. The name of this sign suggests duality, division, and other ideas related to the meaning of the letter. It is difficult to tell twins apart, and to do so requires nice discrimination. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, key 1, the magician, sometimes personified in the Egyptian mythology as the jackal-headed Anubis, representing discernment and sagacity because of the jackal's keen smell of smell. Gemini governs the lungs, collarbones, shoulders, arms, and hands in all pairs. Gemini people are said to be given to inquiry, investigation, and experimentation. They often engage in mental pursuits. In the color scale, Gemini is represented by orange. The corresponding musical tone is D natural. Gemini is a common sign of the air triplicity. Air triplicity. Disposing intelligence is the mode of consciousness as assigned to this letter Zane. To dispose is literally to place apart, to arrange, to distribute, to apportion, to divide. Thus analysis implied by the meaning of the letter name sword. Classification, organization, preparation, and adjustment are all related to this mode of consciousness. This is which shows itself our disposition, and the one's disposition can be modified by right discrimination. The Lovers is the more usual title. Some pre-desto occultists call it the picture of the two paths, and say older versions of the symbolism show a man standing between two female figures representing virtue and vice. This is wholly erroneous. In the old esoteric versions of the tarot, there are 3 figures: a youth, a maiden facing a crowned woman. These are the Kabbalistic son and bride combined with the Kabbalistic mother or queen. The design, aside from its deeper meaning, has obviously referred to marriage. The title imitates the union of opposite but complementary modes of existence. It is also closely related to disposing intelligence, disposition, affections, temperament, idiosyncrasies, propensities. All of these are related to the word love, as well as to the occult meaning of key 6. Propensities. Propensities. Our version is essentially the same as Dr. Waite's, and both are based on unpublished esoteric tarot. We have been at some point pains to clarify certain minor obscurities, but otherwise the symbolism is the same. The sun overhead has the same general significance as that behind the Fool. It is the great light source, the dynamo of radiant energy whence all creatures derive their personal forces. Here it is yellow or golden instead of white, to show that it is our day star, the actual physical sun whence we draw not only energy and life but also ageless wisdom, potential consciousness. The sun is not merely a center of physical force, a thing in the sky. It's a body of being. The angel Raphael is the angel of air, the element attributed to Gemini. And in the symbolism of the Roman Church, the particular angel of the planet Mercury. He is also a great archangel of the eastern quarter of the heavens, as east above. Here he represents superconsciousness and thus is related also to the Fool. His airy nature is indicated by the color of his skin, the yellow we have associated with the air and with Mercury. His violet garments carry out the same idea, because violet is the color complement of yellow. Another indication of his airy nature is the fact that he is supported by clouds. He is the cosmic life breath prana, super subconsciousness, super conscious consciousness. That's what it says. Wait a minute. Prana, super conscious consciousness. His influence descends on both figures below, streaming from his upraised hands. The mountain in the background combines several meanings. Mountains are symbols of the abode of the gods. Consider Sinai, Olympus, Meru, Fujima. Again, they suggest climbing, aspiration, the possibility of attainment. We all have peaks to climb, and the incentive to action, the disposing element in our consciousness which leads to volition. As always in the background, this idea of climbing above our present level. Thus, the mountain represents what alchemists call the great work. Again, a mountain is often a phallic symbol of pregnancy or gestation, suggesting preparation, organization, and like ideas we have already developed in connection with the letter Zayn. The man at the right of the key is Adam, number of things and tiller of the soil. He is also the magician of the tarot. Behind him is a tree bearing 12 fiery fruits. These are the signs of the zodiac, and each flame is triple, because astrologers subdivide every sign into 3 parts or decades. And the 3 behind the man is the tree of human life, and its fruits represented the 12 main types and 36 subtypes of personality, or self-conscious life expressions. The woman at the left is Eve. She is also High Priestess and the Empress. Behind her is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. It bears 5 circular fruits, the 5 senses. Up the tree climbs the serpent of sensation, because temptation arises from subconscious memory of sensation, or from suggested base thereon. Kundalini. The serpent is also a symbol of wisdom and redemption. Moses' serpent in the wilderness, because wisdom and liberation result from the right adaptation of the very forces which, at first tempt us into mistaken action. Thus, Dr. Waite says the suggestion is respect of the woman is she as signifies that attraction towards the sensitive life which carries within it the idea of the fall of man, but she is rather the working of a secret law of providence that is a willing and conscious temperance. It is through her input lapse that man shall rise ultimately, and only by her can he complete himself. In the practical psychology, the lesson of the picture is plain. The woman looks towards the angel, the man towards the woman. The self-conscious intellectual mind, although it is a determining factor in a personal consciousness, does not become directly aware of this super-consciousness. Self-consciousness, as the symbolism of Key 1 shows, does not receive and transmit the power of the super-consciousness. The consciousness aware of the nature of those powers comes from careful observation of the activities of the subconsciousness. The powers are developed within, and the subconscious within is the woman. From that within they are educated or drawn forth in response to self-conscious impulses, and their manifestation in the field of self-consciousness, the without. Development comes by response of the inner to the outer. It is the answer of woman to man that peoples of the world. It is the response of the interpreting subconsciousness to the observing self-consciousness that peoples the thought world with ideals. This is the basic law of mental development. Its constructive operation depends on the discriminative exercise of the self-conscious powers. Personal happiness, health, and success depend on harmonious cooperation of these two modes of mental activity. To secure this harmony, we must understand that both are expressions of a power superior to either. We must see also that the subconsciousness is the mode which, in response to suggestions originate and framed by self-consciousness, brings us into personal relationship with the superior power. Furthermore, the relationship between self-consciousness and subconsciousness should be one of loving intimacy. Hence the two figures are nude. They veil nothing from each other. This is not the state of affairs with most people. Too often, self-consciousness and subconsciousness are not on speaking terms. Consciously, we accept this or that idea. Subconsciously, we seek the realization of its opposite. To correct this error, to establish harmony between these two phases of personality, is to have clear, unmixed, unadulterated desires. Again, since love is the ideal relation between two modes of consciousness, this picture warns us against any attempt to bully or coerce subconsciousness. Persuade subconsciousness, and it will do anything for you. Endeavor to drive it harshly, and you set into operation the law of reverse effort, so that you get a result just the opposite of which you aim. Discrimination then is the key to the establishment of happy cooperation between the two modes of personal consciousness. The burden falls on self-consciousness because it is the framer of suggestion. If it be careless and lax in observation, or harsh in driving and giving commands to subconsciousness, the results are destructive. And on the other hand, if self-conscious intellect perceives the truth relating among the three modes of the consciousness, as symbolized in this key 6, it will be able to frame a suggestion of series which will make it the recipient of superconsciousness guidance through the agency of the subconscious consciousness. All that is necessary is to formulate suggestions embodying the idea that the subconsciousness can and does receive the influence from above, that it can and does reflect the influence to self-consciousness. Frame suggestions like these in words of your own. Study the picture and find the words to express its meaning. Formulate into auto-suggestion. You will be amazed and delight with the result. So there we go. We just did finish key number 6.